Welcome back to the Weatherby Vanguard rebuild. If you're following along, thank you. You'll remember that the baseline from our last time out indicates we have a decent shooter here. It's already shooting well enough for me, and today we get to tweak on the load a little, see if we have more performance to wring from this beastie. Our break-in loads duplicated the previous barrel's preferences, a modest 53 grains of 4350, and they shot pretty well. Today, we're going to quickly ladder across that to see if we can improve it a little. We'll shoot 5-shot groups, cleaning in between because it's a new barrel. We'll be shooting slow to control barrel temps. So let's talk through the loads in this ladder. Given that we have a decent performance at 53.0 grains already, I've chosen 0.2 grain increments rather than the 0.3 grains we normally would when we're working up a rifle from scratch. My thinking is this. We know we want the high end of the load scale, so we retain enough performance to shoot out to distance and keep terminal energies above our minimum threshold. In the 30-06 with a 212 grain bullet, my lower limit at max target distance will be 1600 feet per second. Not scientific, and your mileage may vary, but for me, that's my self-imposed limit. And Hornady states terminal performance is good at 1600 feet per second. The link's in the description. All that suggests I could shoot out way past 600 yards and expect good terminal performance. Not that I choose to hunt that far, but some others may. It's just good practice to build in some margin for error. For my peace of mind, I have to be certain things are working as advertised, so look for a later video of the gel testing for this load. Now, Hornady lists a max load at 53.2 H4350, but I've seen some pretty wild load data from a major source listing the max as 58 grains 4350. And 58 grains looks like a horrible typo. For now, I'll stick with a more sedate reference. Check out Lauren's video where she found Hodgdon's data for the 178 ELD-X to be way high. We absolutely must ladder up from below max because some data is unreliable even if it comes from a credible source. So the high load will be 53.2 grains, and we already know what 53 does from the break-in shooting. I'll break that range into 0.2 grain chunks resulting in 3 5-round groups just to verify I haven't left performance on the table. Alright, we've got our targets stapled up and they're ready to go. We have our ladders laid out. All that remains is to shoot, clean, and gather some data. It's important to mention that variations in seating depth and charge performance are interrelated. Change one, and you affect the other. For an old school caliber like the .06, I'll start load dev at 20K off the lands and find a good charge window. Then I'll run a seating depth test, followed by verifying that the charge hasn't gone out the window, adjusting it, if needed, as needed. And it's also important to talk about the scope here, as it pertains to group size. This scope has a fairly large crosshair. It covers the main aiming box almost completely, which makes it hard to aim precisely. Coupled with Mirage and Old Eyes, I'm fairly happy with these group sizes. This scope's reticle is different from a target or long-range scope reticle. Concentrate on the crosshairs rather than the target. Get the same sight picture every time.
I want to zoom in more, but there is no zoom in more.
I sighted using the relation between the crosshairs and the corners of the box, which is all I could see, and it turned out fairly well. It's hard to shoot small groups with a large crosshair. Finally, we get to shoot a tall target test to verify the scope is level and tracking accurately enough for our purposes.
So I need to come up a bunch, right?
30 minutes.
30?
And enter that correction factor into our ballistic solver to finish the rifle load profile. See Lauren's rifle scope video here for how to do your own tall target test. We'll zip through it now so you don't waste your time. For minutes of angle, the formula is the distance times the minute of angle times 0.01047. I now have only one round left after today's targeting.
Agreed.
Let's swing out to 700 yards just to see if we've done our job decently. Laser rangefinder says 704 yards. Applied ballistics in the Kestrel comes up with 16.8 MOA. so I've dialed 16.75. Wind looks to be 7 miles left to right, half to full value.
Nice.
That's the way to finish
First
the day.
shot. Yes, excellent.
That's the way to finish the day.
Excellent.
That feels good.
Between center and edge.
That's a whole lot further than I'll willingly hunt an animal. And if I can first shot
For
hit
the last shot,
a 1 MOA high by 2 MOA wide target out at 700 yards, then I guess this combo will hunt out past 400 easily enough. I am very pleased with this rebuild. Now let's talk about cold bore shots for a moment. My cold bore shot is the single most important shot for my hunting rifle. So, a day or two prior to hunting, I've always shot a group at or near the elevation and temperature I expect to hunt. Then I leave the bore fouled for the duration of the hunt. And it's common to find that rifles will print their cold bore shots away from the rest of the group, like half MOA left and a quarter MOA low, for instance. So the question that needs asked is this. If that's true, which do you choose? Cold bore crosshairs dead center on your target with your follow-up group a bit off from there? Or vice versa? For me, I choose the first shot as my critical precision shot. I'll tweak on it until I have that first shot grouping center of the dot at 100 yards, 10 times in a row, all cold bore shots. I verify that by coming out with a clean bore, shooting 3 to foul it, then letting the bore return to dead cold before going for the kill shot for real. If I can do that shot reliably, it's a hunting rifle. I do it that way because I don't want to have to remember a whole checklist of things when the kill shot presents itself. I want to put the crosshairs on the animal and let her rip. And if I ever need a follow-up shot, it'll be wild anyway, so precision is not my second shot priority. My target rifles are just the other way around. I just remember that the first shot is off by a half left at a quarter low and adjust accordingly, then shoot the group on the
Nice.
reticle for the rest of the string. But how do you do it? Do you even worry about it? That's the kind of talk I love when sitting around the fire in hunt camp. Learning from the other hunters is one of the best things about being out there. And that should be it, unless something went totally haywire. Did it go as anticipated? Yes, almost to the letter. The hardest part was being patient with Carbon 6 while they made the barrel. Looking at an empty slot in the safe was a tougher thing than I'd anticipated. And where did we end up? Right exactly where I'd hoped I would. She's a sub-MOA shooter that I'll be using for traditional hunting ranges, so she'll exceed my expectations with room to spare. And group sizes? Exceptional for this kind of use case. I wanted something below 3/4 MOA, and it's shooting the 212 into groups smaller than that, easily. And the 212 is primarily designed for the 300 PRC. In this rifle, I need a 9.5 twist to fully stabilize the slug and get all of the BC performance. Right now, she's shooting more than good enough. What about ES, SDs, and so forth? Well, the numbers don't tell the whole tale, partly due to the low shot populations and partly because I'm getting great groups, even at distance, despite the not quite ready for PRS numbers. But the bear, elk, and deer won't know they were hit with a load that has bad SDs in the teens. It's good enough. What about absolute group center? Don't sweat it. Sooner or later, with hunting rifles, we have to quit caring about all the hype. Keep that shot on a pie plate, and you have an ethical kill. Know the distance where you fail to hit that plate with your first shot, and hunt closer than that. It's really that easy. What about the tall target test, the adjustments, app truing, entering data into a Kestrel? Yes, all the tech is going to get tweaked. I'll do all the tech stuff because I can't resist pushing our hunting rifles out to the edges of our range here. 1,100 yards is a long poke for a hunting rifle. Did I prove it out to the 1,100 yard plate? That'll have to be a later trip. Right now, I'm out of ammo, and it's time to head to the barn after a long day. And that's a wrap. I'm very happy with this build. I have my lifelong hunting companion still in its place of honor in the safe, and it's been revitalized with some high-tech wizardry, and it's shooting great. This rifle will probably outlast me, and that'd be just fine. If you liked this video, consider giving Carbon 6 a call. Yeah, I waited 8 months for delivery, but man did they deliver. If you do call, tell them that Steve at Real World Reloading sent you, not that I get anything other than satisfaction out of it. And, as always, thanks for watching.